This is 10 News Melbourne with Jennifer Kite.
Good evening. First tonight, a group of teenage girls has somehow escaped serious injury after smashing and flipping a stolen car in a quiet street in Melbourne's southeast. Several bottles of alcohol were found among the wreckage after the alleged offenders fled, 3 of them aged just 13.
Speeding down a narrow Brighton street, this stolen Subaru Forester was seconds from disaster. With the teenager at the wheel, it hit 2 parked cars and flipped onto its roof. Neighbours ran out expecting a car crash, but instead walked into a crime scene.
A carnage. Yeah, absolute carnage.
Amid the wreckage, several bottles of alcohol.
I found the full bottle of vodka.
Handbags, slippers and evidence of the age of the alleged offenders, a pair of Labubu's.
It's pretty insane. Honestly, I would never think of doing that, but I've probably had a better upbringing than most of them.
Sarah Cavalier's Mazda was written off. She's been overseas and had only just returned her car to the street.
The majority of kids are back at school now, so what are they doing out on a Monday night?
She says the group seemed uninjured and wholly unconcerned.
It was just teenage girls scrambling to get out. Oh, I can't find my phone. Quick, finish the drinks.
Police say the Subaru was stolen from Carnegie just hours earlier. Security cameras captured at least 4 girls taking off towards the Brighton train station in the wake of the crash. Neighbours say more fled in the opposite direction. Police arrested 4 nearby on Carpenter Street, but witnesses say up to 8 were in the car. One witness says after the group took off, 2 girls returned to the vehicle, frantically searching for a mobile phone. He says he grabbed one girl's shirt to stop her, but let go, fearing she might be armed.
It was a split-second decision to grab her, and it was just as easy to let her go because it's just not worth it. I mean, she could have had a knife.
The 3 13-year-olds and 1 17-year-old alleged offender have since been released.
I'll be out there again tonight.
If this was Singapore, it wouldn't be happening.
I mean, that's what happens in Victoria. There's no deterrence, there's no strong bail laws.
They're expected to be charged on summons to appear at a children's court at a later date. Abby Dinham, 10 News.
A Coolaroo Youth Islamic Centre has spoken out after a man was tasered and arrested on its front steps wielding a knife. Footage shows the dramatic moment police pounced on the 43-year-old, with dozens inside praying at the time.
Chaos in a car park during a time for prayer and peace. Walking with eerie calm, the knife-wielding man appeared unfazed as he was quickly surrounded by officers brandishing tasers. The 43-year-old was eventually pinned to the ground. Vision shows an onlooker, a worker at one of the precinct's restaurants, rush in and kick him, while another retrieved his knife.
It's absolutely horrific. It's so devastating.
And we are seeing hateful behaviour at a level that is unacceptable.
Witnesses say the Youth Islamic Centre is part of a precinct where members come to pray, shop and eat, and dozens of people were inside when the man approached. Today, the Hume Islamic Centre released a statement which says, "By the grace of Allah, no one was harmed. We commend the prompt response of both our staff and the attending police officers." Victoria Police say there is no known link between the man and the Islamic Youth Centre, and at this stage in the investigation, what happened isn't being treated as religiously motivated.
Individuals do need to pause and reflect on why they're carrying these dangerous weapons that could kill someone.
So far, no charges have been laid. Steph Baumgartel, 10 News.
Police have been granted more time to build their case against alleged pedophile Joshua Brown. Sam Mills joins us live. Sam, the matter briefly returned to court today.
Good evening, Jen. Joshua Brown was due to appear in September, but a magistrate has accepted the Crown's submission to postpone that and make an extension because of the ongoing police investigation into his alleged offending. Brown faces more than 70 charges of sexual offending against 8 children at a childcare centre in Point Cook between 2022 and 2023. Those charges include abuse of a child, producing child abuse material, transmitting child abuse material online and contaminating food with bodily fluids. At an administrative court hearing this morning where Brown wasn't present, his barrister agreed it was premature and that detectives could potentially discover evidence of further offending and more or different charges could be laid as a result of the investigation. Brown was arrested on May 12 and remains in custody. Jen, he will now front the Melbourne Magistrates Court in February next year.
OK, thank you very much, Sam. Australia's 48th Parliament is finally in session, and for today at least, the bitter rivalry that so often dominates Canberra was put aside. Instead, there was pomp and ceremony, honouring long-held democratic traditions.
No need for divine intervention as the Prime Minister officially begins his second term.
It'll be a good day.
Politicians from across the aisle,
Booth full of vacuum cleaners ready to sell.
Briefly uniting and putting politics aside. A tried and tested tradition to kickstart Australia's 48th Parliament.
Every day is an opportunity to deliver for Australians.
The number of seats that we now hold is a demonstration that we are at a low point.
Then onto the Great Hall for a welcome to country. Before spilling out the front of Parliament House for a smoking ceremony and a selfie for some to savour the moment. Then it was down to business. The traditional black rod marched over from the Senate to the House of Reps and back again, all for the Chief Justice of the High Court to declare
open the 48th Parliament of the Commonwealth.
150 MPs, including a very patriotic Di Lee, took the oath.
Do each of you swear that you will be faithful?
Before member for Oxley, Milton Dick,
is there a nomination?
Was re-elected as Speaker of the House. And in great parliamentary tradition, dragged back to the Speaker's chair.
To be chosen for this role for a second time is a profound honour.
Federal Parliament is nothing without its tradition and ceremony, and today it was clear to be seen. But tomorrow the niceties will be put aside when the government faces question time for the first time, and it will also be a chance for the opposition to see how Susan Lee acts as leader. A summoning of MPs and senators by Governor-General Sam Mostyn to round out the day of formalities.
The hours are tough, the work is dramatic.
Which will all unfold tomorrow. Matthew Carstunen, 10 News.
And Jessica Maggio joins us live from Canberra. Jess, Parliament has just resumed sitting. What's first on the agenda?
Well, Jen, with all the pomp and ceremony now complete, there's still a bit of housekeeping to get through, and that is the first speeches from new Labor MPs. First up will be the two women who toppled party leaders, Ailey France and Sarah Whitty. Ailey France took out the former opposition leader Peter Dutton in his seat of Dixon, and of course Sarah Whitty taking Melbourne from Greens leader Adam Bant. So a very intentional lineup from Labor this evening. This is no accident, but rather calculated politics to rub salt into the wound of not only the coalition but the Greens too. Then it's straight down to business. Tomorrow the government will bring legislation to Parliament, including the HECS debt reduction of 20% and of course urgent reforms into childcare safety, obviously triggered by the ongoing abuse scandal in Victoria. Jen?
OK, thank you, Jessica. A protester who suffered a horrible eye injury during a scuffle with police has given her first TV interview. Speaking to 10 News Plus, Hannah Thomas has detailed the moment. She claims she was punched in the eye by an officer at a pro-Palestinian rally in Sydney, leaving her fighting to save her sight.
It all happened very fast, and I remember feeling like that impact to my head and just thinking, oh my God, like what was that? I thought it was, I just could not believe that I'd been punched, that level of force to my head.
Hannah Thomas faces questions about her own actions before her arrest. Plus, our cameras were there as the former Greens candidate attended another protest, sending a message to politicians as Parliament returns. Powers have been introduced in schools across Victoria, enabling principals to suspend or expel students for their behaviour outside school or even online. The new measures have been welcomed by teachers who say it helps keep students accountable for causing distress that filters into the classroom.
Online abuse has become a frequent occurrence for students in Victoria.
In group chats there's a lot of swearing, and online there's a lot of kind of inappropriate things.
People think that when they're on messages or group chats they feel relieved, so then they can let out whatever they feel like.
I get frustrated. It's not that great to be doing that stuff.
Now, principals across the state have been given the tools to crack down on destructive behaviour, both online and in person.
Principals now will have the power to suspend or expel students where there has been harmful behaviour that's occurred outside the school gate.
More incidents are being recorded and shared online as schools try to step in to deter such behaviour.
Sometimes I have to make those phone calls home to say, hey, this has happened online and this is something that I'm now seeing in the classroom. Let's have a conversation.
The new measures come in the wake of a spike in bullying across Australia.
From face to face, so verbal, physical, right through to online, where we've got things like deepfakes, extortion, online abuse. It's that really pervasive, it's a 24/7 nature of bullying today that's having such a big impact.
Principals across Victoria have been granted their new powers as of this week, as the state joins New South Wales and South Australia, which have also adopted the measures in their schools.
It makes everyone understand that this is a serious matter that needs attention, and if that is the message that gets through for everyone, I think that's a really wonderful message to get through.
We do have to send that message loud and clear that behaviour does have consequences.
Jack Perry, 10 News.
Australia has joined more than 20 other countries, including the UK, France and Canada, to demand an immediate end to the war in Gaza. The highly critical statement describes Israel's actions as inhumane and came on the same day the IDF launched a new offensive.
On a quiet Gaza street, the Israeli military strikes, adding more rubble to the endless destruction. The IDF is now pushing into places which have previously been spared during this war, launching a new ground operation in Deir al-Balah, where thousands of people have been sheltering and where aid agencies operate. Israel claims hostages could be held here. But this conflict is becoming increasingly difficult to justify, and condemnation is growing. Australia and more than 20 other nations are demanding an immediate end to the war, writing in a joint statement, "The suffering of civilians in Gaza has reached new depths. The Israeli government's aid delivery model is dangerous and deprives Gazans of human dignity," adding, "The Israeli government's denial of essential humanitarian assistance is unacceptable."
What we are watching on the other side of the world is indefensible. The hostages still need to be released, but the war needs to end.
Israel has rejected the criticism, saying it is disconnected from reality. The US didn't sign the joint statement.
The Israeli government's action are doing untold damage to Israel's standing in the world and undermining Israel's long-term security.
Health officials in Gaza say the death toll has now reached almost 60,000, and there is no sign the bloodshed will end soon, with peace talks at an impasse. John Paul Gonzo, 10 News.
A mid-air emergency has forced a Qantas flight on its way to Melbourne to return to Mildura. Reports of problems with the hydraulics on the plane's wing flaps prompted the pilot to turn the aircraft around. 63 people were on board the aircraft, which circled the Mildura airport to dump fuel before landing just after 11 a.m. A Qantas spokesperson said while the incident would have been unsettling for passengers, pilots were trained to deal with technical issues. Well, now here's Stephen previewing sport, and a Carlton veteran calls it quits.
Yes, he does, Jen. Sam Docherty will play for the Navy Blues one last time on Thursday, ending his courageous 184-game career. Also, the Bulldogs get their man. Marcus Bontempelli signs for life. Some good news for the Swans as they prepare for the Sydney Derby. The The Bombers coach calls for some radical rule changes. And Nick Kyrgios puts on a brave face as his knee problems continue to stymie his return to big-time tennis.
Thank you, Stephen. Coming up in 10 News, horror in the outback. A man charged after allegedly binding 3-year-olds with duct tape and holding them at gunpoint. Keeping your baby safe during labour. Aussie researchers make the biggest birthing breakthrough in decades. And it's not just pure imagination. Cadbury opens a mega factory in Truganina, the largest of its kind in the world.
It's been a cold and windy day in Melbourne. Elmo is staying warm under the big top thanks to the Grovercast. I'll have all your weather details live after the break.
Watch and stream free.
When things go wrong.
Like when a trip to the shops ends in the back of an ambulance.
You know what to do.
Get Carbone on the phone.
Get Carbone on the phone.
Get Carbone on the phone.
We don't settle for less, neither should you.
G'day, it's James Padley in the Carbone Lawyers traffic chopper, and there's been a nasty prang in Plenty. This is on Yan Yean Road, travelling northbound before Browns Lane. It's taken out a left-hand lane with multiple crews on scene. Towie's also having just pulled up. Delays are slow going all the way back towards Diamond Creek Road. Hopefully it won't be too much longer before they can load this one up and get things moving again. I'm James Padley in the Carbone Lawyers traffic chopper. I'll be back again shortly with another update.
Welcome back. A Queensland man who allegedly tied up 2 children and pointed a gun at one of their heads is tonight free on bail. Police claim he took photos of the incident and sent them to several people. And a warning, this story contains some confronting details.
In the Central Highlands, police make their arrest.
So you're willing to come down to the station with us now? Okay, no dramas. All right. I'm going to place you under arrest.
Officers allege this man tied up 2 children aged 3 and 4 with duct tape before taking photos where a gun was pointed at their head.
That firearm was actually an operable firearm and could be fired.
Police were at the property in May for a drug investigation. The photos were discovered on a phone. They were allegedly sent to several people after being taken.
Obviously very disturbing. Police obviously made initial inquiries, were able to identify who their children were.
The man was known to the children, who are safe. He's also been released on bail and will have his matter mentioned in court next month.
He's now in curfew conditions as well as reporting conditions, all of which he's complied with.
In a separate incident also in Emerald, a 59-year-old man is accused of supplying dangerous drugs and committing sexual offences against a child.
I'm placing you under arrest for the grooming of a child.
Police were made aware of that incident after complaints from the community.
There was concerns amongst the community that this person was getting around with this juvenile and that there was belief that he was supplying her drug and then taking sexual advantage of her.
The 59-year-old faced court today. He did not make an application for bail. Lawrence Jeffcoat, 10 News.
Australian researchers say they've made the biggest breakthrough in more than 5 decades towards improving the safety of babies and mothers during childbirth. They've developed a device that monitors a baby's oxygen levels in utero, greatly reducing the chance of brain damage or death.
For more than 50 years, the most accurate way to detect a baby's oxygen levels has been by monitoring their heart rate. But Australian researchers are delivering groundbreaking technology to ensure the safest possible outcome for mums and newborns.
This is an absolute revolution in childbirth. This is the sort of breakthrough that us obstetricians have been looking for, for decades.
The Vital Trace sensor has been developed by a team at the University of WA over 7 years and trialled at some of Australia's major birthing hospitals. Doctors and midwives can immediately detect when a baby isn't receiving enough oxygen during labour.
And this could well provide them with the information to make life-saving decisions to rescue babies that truly need intervention, but also avoid those unnecessary C-sections that occur today.
Researchers say up to 70% of emergency C-sections are carried out unnecessarily, but with the use of this device, that number could be drastically reduced. also giving extra reassurance for parents.
There are times during the birth of my daughter where her heart rate couldn't be detected. It can be quite frightening in what's already an intense experience. So if this device was available, it just would have given me greater peace of mind that she was healthy and safe.
The trial will be expanded to hospitals overseas before the device is submitted for final approval. It's hoped it'll be rolled out within the next few years. Lee Steele, 10 News.
Well, time now for a look at the weather with Jade Kotick. Jade, wild winds battered Victoria this morning.
Jen, thankfully conditions are easing in Melbourne tonight. It was a wild and woolly day. A severe weather warning does remain in place for damaging winds for Victoria's southwest coast and the northeast ranges today, where we did see locally destructive winds across the Alpine region. Mount Hotham saw gusts peak at 150 kilometres an hour close to Melbourne. The airport in St Kilda saw gusts peak at 78 k's. As far as rainfall goes, totals were light. We saw about 9 millimetres over the Dandenong, 6 millimetres for the northern suburbs. As for the temperature, it was a warm and windy start. Melbourne's low was 12 degrees. It reached a high of 17. It's currently 13 degrees outside. Now, tonight's weather report is live from Caulfield Racecourse, and I'm going to show you why. This here is Elmo's Circus Dream, live from under the big top, where all your favourite Sesame Street characters come to life, thanks to Circus Royale. Now, the show features acrobats, clowns, illusions, and of course the famous Wheel of Steel. Take a look at that. It actually looks terrifying if you ask me. The show is here until August 3. Tickets are available online. It's a whole heap of fun. Bring the family along. As for the forecast, like I said, conditions are easing, Jen. I'll be back closer to 6 with all the details.
OK, see you then. Thank you, Jade. And ahead in 10 News, Obama back in Trump's sights as the US president posts an AI video of his predecessor getting arrested. And mysteries of the Earth unlocked as scientists extract the planet's oldest ice in Antarctica.
Just ahead on 10 News Plus, the surprise new move by Hannah Thomas, Amelia Brace's exclusive interview with the protester whose eye injury made global headlines. What really happened in that violent police scuffle? 10 News Plus at 6.
You're watching 10 News Melbourne. Donald Trump's key intelligence chief has made a bombshell allegation accusing former President Barack Obama of treason dating back to 2016. She's released documents to back her claims, but not everyone's convinced.
For fake news, top this. Donald Trump posting bogus images of Barack Obama being arrested. Feeding a frenzied MAGA narrative, the former president is about to be charged with treason for allegedly manipulating intelligence reports about Russian interference in the 2016 election.
He directed a manufactured piece of intelligence that detailed not if, but how Russia tried to influence the outcome.
Trump's director of national intelligence claims even as Barack Obama was putting on a show of transitioning power, he was conspiring with intelligence chiefs to suggest Trump's victory was illegitimate because it was helped by Russian meddling to defeat the candidate Vladimir Putin most feared, Hillary Clinton. Gabbard calls that an attempted coup.
There is one big hole in that argument. There is no record of Barack Obama ever claiming that either of Donald Trump's election victories was illegitimate due to Russian meddling or anything else. Hardly a coup, far less treason.
A Republican-led inquiry found the Russian government did direct extensive activity against US election infrastructure in 2016, though in the end found there was no evidence that any votes were changed. A distraction, if nothing else, from the recent focus on the president's awkward history with sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. Meanwhile, another colourful figure has popped up, Joe Biden's son, giving his view of George Clooney, the actor who urged Biden Sr. to step down.
Him, and everybody around him.
Hunter Biden now saying about his father what couldn't be said at the time.
Yeah, he got old. He got old before our eyes.
Hugh Riminton, 10 News.
At least 20 people have been killed after an Air Force jet crashed into a school in Bangladesh. Many of the victims were students, with a further 170 pupils injured after the training jet experienced a technical problem shortly after takeoff. Emergency crews battled fires as survivors were rushed to hospital. An investigation is now underway into the cause of the deadliest aviation disaster in the country since the 80s. Well, a group of scientists could have discovered a way to understand the Earth's climate future by reaching back in time. By drilling kilometres to new depths below the Earth, they found some of the oldest ice cores ever recovered, with the mysteries of our planet's past contained in tiny bubbles.
Extracted from deep beneath Antarctica, a core of ice, the oldest that's ever been collected, and it holds a unique recording dating more than 1 million years.
Come on in, I switch the lights on.
And the secrets of this ancient ice will soon be unlocked by scientists at the British Antarctic Survey in Cambridge.
So these are the boxes.
There are 190 pieces, each 1 metre long.
I'm going to do it very, very carefully.
Kept at about minus 23 degrees in the freezer.
This is the most precious sample because what we've actually got out on the bench in front of us is the oldest ever ice core. So we're hoping that this record is going to actually go back at least 1.2 million years, hopefully 1.5, but it could actually be even older.
The scientists set up camp in East Antarctica, drilling the ice cores from a depth of 2.8 kilometres over 4 years. It needed painstaking precision. The only way to find out what's in this ice is to melt it slowly. The ice will reveal variations in temperature, snowfall and even wind patterns. The tiny bubbles inside providing a snapshot of the carbon dioxide levels. Working from the youngest ice to the very oldest will reconstruct the Earth's climate history and help scientists understand the changes we're seeing today.
The concentration of greenhouse gases in our atmosphere today are higher than at any time in the last 800,000 years. So we know we're in an unusual climate period. We want to understand how the climate is going to change in the future. And essentially, as much information as we can provide about how the climate has changed in the past is going to improve our predictions.
It will take about 7 weeks to melt and study the precious samples. Once they're gone, they're gone. But it's a chance to unlock the Earth's deepest secrets held in Antarctica's ancient ice. Nicole Strawn, 10 News.
And still to come, Sweet Sanctuary, your first look at Cadbury's biggest global factory that's just opened in Truganina. And the simple bare necessities of Japan's fake bear drills, why residents may not want to venture into the woods.
When things go wrong.
Like when a trip to the shops ends in the back of an ambulance.
You know what to do.
Get Carbone on the phone.
Get Carbone on the phone.
Get Carbone on the phone.
We don't settle for less, neither should you.
G'day again, James Padley in the Carbone Lawyers traffic chopper, and a truck's broken down on the Monash Freeway travelling inbound around Yarra Boulevard. The left-hand lane currently closed there with speeds dropped down to 40. Fortunately, we can see heavy haulage pulling up, so it shouldn't be too long before that one gets loaded up and carried away. There's also a broken down truck on the Monash Freeway a little bit further out, also inbound though, this one before Stud Road, and then there's a crash on the Monash outbound before Clyde Road with delays pushing back towards Eastlink. I'm James Padley in the Carbone Lawyers traffic chopper. Have a great night. I'll see you again tomorrow. Jen?
Thank you, James. A world-leading chocolate factory in Melbourne's west is the latest weapon in the battle to keep the price of our favourite tasty treat under control. Record cocoa prices have pushed the retail cost of chocolate to unprecedented levels, and established producers are facing fresh competition as well.
Jars of joy and bars of bliss now shipped through a world-leading distribution centre, Cadbury executives say will keep chocolate cheaper.
Basically taking 193 trucks off the road. So this is a big initiative that will drive productivity for us.
A regulation bar of Cadbury has reached $8 at Coles and Woolies.
$8 is a lot to pay for chocolate. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot for a little bit of indulgence. People, even with the cost of living crisis, will still buy chocolate.
Cocoa has increased 3 times due to global warming and crop supply.
Mondelez, the company that owns Cadbury, says it's working with overseas sources to restore supply. This new national distribution centre in Melbourne's west opened today at a cost of $130 million. It's twice the size of the MCG. 4 million blocks of chocolate will go through it each week. Cadbury's parent company says it's doing what it can to keep tasty treats in family homes. It claims it's absorbing some of the increased cocoa costs and introducing smaller blocks. At a time when more expensive competitors like Dubai chocolate are going viral.
Cadbury's nowhere near that cost, and what we know about Cadbury is it employs a whole lot of Australians, and that kind of makes you feel good about buying it as well.
But don't be surprised to see new creations join old favourites sometime soon.
With value being challenged, one thing we do know is that people love new variants, and so we will continue to do that.
After all, chocolate is a world of pure imagination. Rory Campbell, 10 News.
Well, in true Ed Sheeran fashion, he's announced his next Australian tour at a well-known English pub. Following subtle teasers from his promoters, the iconic redhead global superstar is coming back down under in summer. Unfortunately, he wasn't actually in person, instead sharing the news virtually in Sydney's Lord Dudley Hotel this afternoon.
New stage, new tricks, new set, new songs, old songs. Really excited about it. And I'm really pumped to kick it off in Oz and New Zealand.
Sheeran's new Loop Australian tour will kick off in January, with 2 shows to be held at Marvel Stadium in February. Well, you have the bare necessities and then you have this. Don't be fooled. What you're seeing here is actually a man dressed in a bear costume. It's because authorities in Japan are now conducting fake bear drills following a spate of recent attacks in the country. Local police dressed a willing participant as a grisly intruder, so those taking part could practice how to scare off the real thing. And who knew bears moved like crabs?
I found a new job.
Was that convincing? Thank you, Stephen. Now you're here with Tuesday Sport. The Bont staying a Bulldog.
Yes, he is, Jen. Marcus Bontempelli has entered the speculation, re-signing at the kennel for 4 more years. Also a Blues favourite to retire on Thursday after taking on the Hawks. Brad Scott calls for an end to the sub. Jake Witherald stakes his claim for a spot in the Australian Test team. And the twirl is back, and so is Venus, as the 45-year-old makes a successful return to the court. Good evening. The Western Bulldogs have put to bed fears of Marcus Bontempelli departing, re-signing their skipper on a new 4-year deal. It'll tie the Bont to the club until 2029.
A generational talent who's Bulldogs through and through.
It's an honour, boys. We can never forget how important it is to just be able to pull on the jumper.
To think that this will take me to sort of the ripe old age of 34 means that I've been around a little while and I've done a little bit right, which is nice.
It's a decision that has dragged on though and been out of contract at season's end. There was no shortage of industry scuttlebutt about a move elsewhere. Bontempelli blames a busy off-field life.
Ready to rock and roll today? Yeah. Ready to rock.
And says there was no doubt he'd stay a dog.
Yeah, not in my mind. It was purely just how much was going on. I've had a few different things happening. Getting married in the off-season, opened a small coffee shop out in Kew. So it was really just a bit of me getting some clear air.
The new deal will no doubt see him add to his bulging Bulldogs resume of premiership player, All-Australian captain and 6-time best and fairest winner. Just last night he was honoured as the Bulldogs' second greatest, behind only Ted Whitten.
But I think I really owe a lot of my, maturing as a person and as a man to the football club.
With deals for the coach and captain sewn up, the Dogs now need to lift themselves out of the dreaded 9th slot on the AFL ladder. But in the long term, Bontempelli hopes it's the new breed of Bulldogs who'll be shouldering the load.
And hopefully just slide forward or slide into half back and just hopefully rack them up and watch those boys go to work.
Spark it up, here we go, all together tonight, let's launch.
Katie Price, 10 News.
One of football's most extraordinary careers will come to an end on Thursday night when Carlton's Sam Docherty plays his final game. The former skipper is universally admired after enduring some terrible setbacks, including 2 bouts of cancer.
Add this to a long list of memorable moments.
All right.
No, I want my seat.
Yeah, do you want to go sit on your seat or do you want to sit with Daddy? You go to your seat.
Former Carlton captain Sam Docherty will pull on the navy blue for the 184th and final time against the Hawks. After playing 13 games for Brisbane, the boyhood bagger left in 2013, winning a best and fairest 3 years later, becoming an All-Australian in 2017 and co-captaining alongside Patrick Cripps.
As I said this morning, I'm sorry I don't get that moment that we've chased with you and wanted to have with you for the whole time I've been at the club, and that's all our goal has ever been. Hopefully you get what you deserve.
A star on field, he became an inspiration off it. Undergoing 3 ACLs, including in back-to-back seasons, he returned from injury in 2020 during the COVID season before surviving 2 bouts of cancer.
And I get messages from people all the time of family members and that are sick or have taken inspiration from my story, and that's always driven me, and it still will.
The man they call Doc says he wanted to finish on his own terms.
I feel like I got so much more out of my career than I ever thought was possible. I got the fairy tale end that I'm sort of looking for in the end.
Meanwhile, Brad Scott has again called for Greg Swan and the AFL to scrap the sub-rule.
It creates all sorts of problems for player load. It creates all sorts of problems for structure and balance of teams.
The Bomber boss also wants shorter games and says there's one way that can happen this week.
The game's creeping out, it's getting longer and longer. So I'd prefer the ball was balled up quicker.
And Will Day is back Thursday night for Hawthorn.
So Daisy's playing this week?
Adrian Franklin for 10 News First.
The Swans look like regaining Tom Papley in a huge boost for their slim tilt at the finals. The Giants could shut the door on their hopes, but GWS needs to end a frustrating drought in the Sydney Derby.
A tug of war for bragging rights. The Swans have been top dogs in Sydney in their last 5 encounters, and Tom Papley's likely return from a hamstring injury will help.
It's obviously massive. If he can come back and play, he's a massive energy bundle when you get him, and he just lifts the whole team. So obviously we like him back, and from what I've seen at training, he's been really good.
Sydney flying by the seat of their pants, going for an improbable finals spot. They've ticked off 3 of their 8 must-win games.
It probably gets harder, but you do understand what you have to do to get a win in each game. So you obviously feel nervous before every game, if not more, the closer you get to finals.
Earlier in the season, they probably had their challenges with injury, and now you're sort of seeing the best. And they're definitely, playing like a top team in the competition right now.
Jack Buckley more aware than most of what's coming. He was underneath that Isaac Heaney mark last season.
Yeah, I can't avoid that one. I think, I'm pretty used to it, to be honest. I'd call myself the step ladder. So he's a phenomenal player. I think last week he had 5 from 30. So, you've always got to worry about the oppo's best player. I'm sure we'll have plans for that. I don't know what they are.
The Giants have the form and the ladder position. They're out to prove they have the ruthlessness also on Friday.
Everyone's seeing the sort of top 10 teams at the moment just keep winning. So you've got to keep your foot down as long as you can.
Bence Hammerley, 10 News.
A bulked-up Jasper Fletcher says it was a no-brainer to sign a 4-year extension with the Lions, the 21-year-old admitting he wasn't happy with his performance last season, adding 4 kilos to his frame in a bid to hold his own this year.
I studied exercise and nutrition science after school, and so that's something I'm quite interested in. And I've been testing things since I've got to the club, and now I feel like I've found a diet and a plan that works for me, and hopefully I continually add stuff to that and see where I can get to if I can get to another level.
The Lions predicting a real contest in Saturday's Q clash against the Suns, especially with the Gold Coast side now scrapping to stay inside the 8.
I'm always excited for the opportunity to match up against a team like that, and no doubt it'll take our best foot forward to be able to beat them. But as you said, it's nothing we haven't done before.
The Lions won this season's first Q clash in round 8 by 17 points. The Wallabies have vowed to bring an attacking mentality to the second test against the British and Irish Lions. That's despite predictions the Melbourne weather might be good for Ducks and the touring side at the MCG. And as debate ranges around the best position for Joseph Suali'i, his teammates admit he needs to inject himself more into the match.
Just being able to roam around, it's not rugby league. He doesn't have to stay on the left side. He can roam around and get into the ruck or close to the ruck if he has to get a touch and be in the game.
The team is heading to Marvel Stadium tonight to scout the Lions in their match against the First Nations and Pacifica side. With the Aussie Test openers in all sorts at present, SA's Jake Weatherall is putting his name up in lights, the reigning Sheffield Shield Player of the Year, putting on a clinic for Australia A.
And what a homecoming it is for the Darwin local. His 13th first-class century, and he sends a message to selectors, I hear you might need an opener.
Weatherall has pushed past 150 in the tour match. It's a serious hit-out too, with the contest against Sri Lanka considered a mini-test. Another Aussie hopeful is also in the runs, Jason Sanger, continuing his strong run of form, scoring a ton of his own. Nick Kyrgios tried to put on a brave face as he made it through his first ATP Tour match in 4 months, teaming up in the doubles with Frenchman Gael Monfils at the DC Open. But signs of trouble were clear as he struggled with his ongoing injury, later describing his knee as cooked. The duo went down in the first round as the former world number 13 tries to ready himself for a Grand Slam return at the US Open next month. Venus Williams is 45 years young and hasn't played competitive tennis for over 12 months, but it didn't seem to matter. She returned to the court in the doubles with Hayley Baptiste and picked up where she left off with a seemingly effortless straight sets win. And she celebrated in style with that famous twirl. So for turning back the clock, Venus can add to her 7 slams with our play of the day. Looking forward to Serena making a return too, Jen. They could both still win on the tour, I reckon.
45.
Pretty good.
Not bad. Thank you, Stephen. Now here's Jade with the weather.
Thanks, Jen. It's 12 degrees in the city, but it's warming up under the big top with Elmo and the gang. I'll have your 7-day forecast with a special performance after the break. Welcome back. Time for a look at your 7-day forecast. And we are live from Elmo's Circus Dream, live from under the big top at Caulfield Racecourse. It's here until August 3. And here is a peek at what you can expect by some of the incredible acrobats, joined by the team from Sesame Street. Elmo there at the back clapping on. As for the weather in Melbourne today, we reached a top of 17 degrees. It's currently 12 degrees in the city. Widespread showers swept across Melbourne today. Some of the western suburbs missed out completely, including Geelong, and that wind whipped up. It was pretty nasty at times, so damaging winds. Minimums were mostly above 10 degrees. The temperatures peaked between 15 and 17. We saw more than 6 millimetres over the northern suburbs and the foothills, including Essendon and Scoresby, 9 millimetres over Mount Dandenong, but again Geelong didn't see a drop. A severe weather warning does remain in place tonight for the southwest coast and northeast ranges. Ballarat saw gusts of 91 kilometres an hour, while the northeast exceeded 100 k's. Minimums were above 0 for most of the state, and maximums peaked in the mid-teens. Humidity was low in Darwin today. Showers arrived late in Canberra. Hobart topped 15 and could see a shower tonight. Wild weather battered South Australia. Adelaide seeing 9 millimetres overnight. On the satellite image tonight, thick cloud blankets eastern Australia, bringing damaging to destructive winds to the nation's southeast and scattered showers. Driving these dangerous conditions is a powerful cold front wrapped around a low pressure system near Tasmania. Over the next 24 hours, the low will slip south and a high pressure system will extend a ridge over Victoria, while a cold front runs up the east coast. That means a wet day ahead for Brisbane and Sydney. A possible shower in Hobart, 15 degrees. Perth could see a light show. Darwin, fine and sunny, 31. Back home, we can expect patchy morning fog and frost through inland areas, followed by a partly cloudy and cool day statewide with scattered showers about the exposed coastline and mountainous areas. A dusting of snow above 1,000 metres. Bendigo, a very cold day ahead, just 11 degrees. Gippsland will stay dry, highs of 14 to 16. Closer to the city, conditions will ease overnight, leaving us with a settled and mostly sunny morning around the suburbs. Westerly winds will produce a light shower or two in the afternoon, but falls will be hit and miss. Tops of 12 to 13. For boaties and swimmers, winds on Port Phillip will be northwesterly up to 25 knots, easing in the evening. Wave heights up to 1.5 metres. Melbourne is down to 7 degrees tonight. Mostly sunny skies in the morning. Clouds rolling in during the afternoon, delivering another light shower or two. 13 degrees. Skies will clear on Thursday. Mostly sunny. 16 degrees. Overcast conditions return Friday ahead of the next rain band. 14 there. It's looking like a soggy Saturday up to 10 millimetres, just 14 degrees, and a wet Sunday too. Jen, I'll leave it there, but this show looks like a lot of fun.
Spectacular. Thank you, Jade. And that's 10 News Melbourne for this Tuesday. Now it's time for 10 News Plus.